Hello everyone, welcome back to another Train Sim World 6 video, and recently I heard through the Train Sim World grapevine that the Great Western Express remaster has a release date and the ambassadors know what the release date is, so it is at most a couple of weeks away. The remaster, I mean. So I decided, why not take the GWR HST out and do one final service before the remaster kicks in and see how well the old route looks. Spoiler alert, this remaster is very much necessary. We're in the GWR HST with a few coaches behind, I'm not sure. And we're doing a run up to Paddington, no stops. So yeah, let's get going. HST. Right. This route is so old that we don't even have to open the doors. Let's get the brakes off. While we release the brakes, let's get the day headlights on, instruments on. Yeah. And I believe that's everything we need to do. Something that is... Yeah, I'm also using Winzaten's live weather mod today. I have zoomed out the map as well. Notch 3. Yeah, and the remaster is going to do a ton. You'd better consult the Dovetail Games article, which they released about the remaster around the end of 2025. Because the remaster is incredibly huge in scope, and I couldn't hope to cover everything about it in a video like this. Great Western Express is actually one of the first routes I got, since I do have extensive experience with the Reading to Paddington line in real life. However, that experience is the modern day version, which is fully electrified, GWR IETs, 387s, and then Elizabeth Line Class 345 Aventras, with the occasional Freightliner or Great British Rail Freight Class 66 showing up for freight stuff. Yeah. This route is set in 2016, with catenary masts, some of being set up but no wires attached to them. The only electrified section on this line is from Hayes and Harlington to Paddington for the Heathrow services to work. How's frame rate? Basically 60 frames. We're at full throttle, 34 miles to Paddington. Oh, I cannot wait for the remaster because it is just so gigantic in scope that I cannot wait to get it going. Also, you'll probably hear coughing from me and my brother in the background. That is because we're both still recovering from colds, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I have not. I believe we do have some timetable layers. I've got Diesel Legends installed, so we might see some of that stock lurking about. Not too sure about that. Then I've also got Cargo Lines Volumes 1, 2, and 4 installed. So we should see the TAs, HOAs, and KWAs lurking around, I hope. So yeah, the remaster is just gigantic. New timetable, ton of timetable layers, which are longer, literally longer than both my arms, and then all the rolling stock included with including the Diesel Legend stock getting updated to modern standards, and the GWR HST Farewell Pack DLC, which will be a livery pack for the GWR HST, including notable ones like notable HSTs like Sir Kenneth Grange, Old Oak Common. Yeah, it'll be fun when that comes out. I haven't done a run on this route in ages. I've been waiting for the remaster, but I decided since... Yeah, what is that? Oh, that's 166. I forgot to mention, we're also getting the Class 165 as well. I was hoping we'd get it because, yeah, basically taking out the central carriage in the Class 166 and turned it into 165. Which which I do prefer the 165, simply because I've ridden on it more than the 166. It feels so weird to go on this route in this era. I'm just expecting a Class 345 to shoot past my window. Though I have seen an HST on this line in real life. I actually was lucky enough to see the Flying Banana on point duty heading from Paddington toward Reading back in July. For those who don't know what the Flying Banana is, it's a modified Class 43 HST painted banana yellow, and it's operated by Network Rail as an inspection train. It's one of the few HSTs left in service. The only, well, ScotRail are still using HSTs, but not for much longer. They're getting as East Midlands Rail are getting their Class 810 Auroras from Hitachi. That means the Class 222 Meridian in use by EMR is being pushed out of service. And that means ScotRail are actually getting those old Class 222, those older Class 222s from EMR once the Class 810s fully come into service, which is good. But, well, it's both good and not good, because the 222s are much more modern. They are pretty ancient by today's standards, but they are much more modern than the HSTs they're replacing. But it is sad that once the ScotRail HSTs go, that means there will be no HSTs left anywhere in service in Britain. GWR just retired their HST castle sets last month. There are a couple still around. I believe most of them are heading for scrap. But there are a couple going to be preserved, which is going to be excellent. And the GWR HST Sir Kenneth Grange 43002 power car, that is also already preserved at the National Railway Museum. I believe there are a couple of HSTs in other places which I'm not too sure about. Let's keep it moving. 27 miles to go. It's basically flat the whole way, quite an easy drive. One thing I am looking forward to is that in a few frames of the 10 minutes of Great Western Express Remastered video that we got, in a few frames you can actually see a Class 802 IET from the Riviera line doing a run on this line, which should be fun, because while the 802 on Riviera is a nice train to drive, having an IET to drive on this route for a few test runs should be fun, because that means we'll be able to get the 802 up to line speed and switch power modes, because once you pass Hayes and Harlington, you'll be able to switch from diesel to overhead electric mode. Now, which the 802s, if they're going on the Cornish main line, still have to do. They just have to switch power modes at Newbury instead of Hayes and Harlington. But yeah, the vast majority of GWR intercity services on this route will still be HSTs in the Great Western Express Remaster, but there will be a few 802 test runs. And then the Class 166 and 165 will form the main GWR local stuff. Then we'll have a reliveried form of the Class 484 from Island Line 2022 for services between Paddington, for underground services between Paddington and Ealing Broadway. There's another 166. Hello, sir. Hang on, let's get a picture while we're here. Let's get that lined up. Let's add some motion blur. Oh, let's change the depth of field first. And let's add some motion blur. I do love the photo mode in this game. Passing Maidenhead. Hello. which is the start of the Marlow branch line. Do like Maidenhead. Been through this station many a time. Nice station to go to. Then, yeah, where was I? Class 484 Underground. Then, we'll also get a reliveried form of the Class 350 from West Coast Mainline South in a Heathrow Connect livery. It's meant to represent a Class 360. Oh, by the way, just have to point out, Maidenhead brick bridge over the Thames. Biggest brick, I'm pretty sure it's the biggest brick bridge left in the world, but you might have to correct me on that. Then, so yeah, the Class 350 for West Coast Mainline South will be reliveried in a Heathrow Connect, unbranded Heathrow Connect livery, which is actually interesting because we were, according to a lot of pre-release material, we were actually going to get the, here, I think this is, what station is this? I cannot remember. Anyway, so, oh, bit of installed overhead catenary. Doesn't work because it's separate from the rest of the network, but it's here anyway. What was I saying? So yeah, we'll get, unbranded Heathrow Connect, Class 350, meant to represent the Class 360. And we will be able to drive Heathrow services from Paddington to Hayes and Harlington. And you'll require Island Line 2022 and West Coast Mainline South for those two aforementioned liveries to show up. In the pre-release, a lot of pre-release material is actually said that we are going to get the Brighton Mainline Class 387 would actually be a reliveried in an unbranded Heathrow Express livery, but it seems as though plans have changed and we're getting the Class 360 in air quotes instead, which I'm fine with. The Class 350 is a nice train to drive, and to have it on another route will be nice to have. I can already drive it on West Coast Mainline South and Birmingham Cross City, but being able to drive it on this route will be nice too. Hello, we're overtaking a 166. Nice. You don't get to overtake too many trains. This isn't the busiest route in the world, but being able to... Yeah. Also, on the remaster, the scenery will be completely overhauled. Like, I mean, when I say the scenery has been overhauled, like, that doesn't do justice to it, because it has been, it looks in before and after shots provided by the developers. Oh, there's Slough and the Windsor branch coming in there. What was I thinking? Oh yes, the scenery looks so overhauled that it's not funny. Like, it is so like, the scenery has been updated to modern standards and then some on top of that. Like, then also rail singing and AI horns will be implemented. The GWR HST livery pack looks stupendous. It will be payware, but I'll get it day one because livery packs aren't too expensive, and I'm not too much a fan of livery packs, but this one looks insane. Like, this looks like a properly done livery pack with 3D nameplates and all. There's another HST. Yeah, and then on top of that, there's a ton of timetable layers, cargo lines volumes 1, 2, and 4. And then, yeah, I had Diesel Legends of the Great Western stock will layer in, and they're getting a remaster up to modern standards. Yeah, it's just insane the amount of work that's been put into the remaster, it looks like. And the fact that the fact that Great Western Express will finally be playable for me and look decent will be awesome. Especially since this is probably one of my favourite stretches of track in the UK. And once the remaster and Great Western Express HST packs come out, I am fully expecting this to become my favourite British route in the game. I know I've talked a lot about how Preston to Carlisle is absolutely awesome, but I think Great Western Express will finally take the top spot that it has deserved for years now. It's crazy to think that this is the oldest British route in the game. It's almost 9 years old. It was released in 2017. And the fact that we're finally getting a remaster for this. And mind you, the route was updated to Train Sim World 2 standards back in the day, but that barely involved anything. It was a few minor lighting changes, if I'm not mistaken. And the fact that we'll finally be able to appreciate this route for what it's worth and do a ton of service for a ton of different service varieties on it is just insane. I think my only regret is I won't be able to drive the Class AC6 on this line, because even though, yeah, because even if I drive it on here, I'd only be able to go as far as Hayes and Harlington. And at the time, I believe the electrifying bit was distinct from the network. There's the line from Heathrow coming in. We are not getting any new branch lines as far as we know. We're not getting the Heathrow line. We're not getting any of the Thames Valley branch lines to Greenford, Windsor, Marlow or Henley, which is a bit of a disappointment, since I'm quite familiar with one of the Thames Valley branch lines. But at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters, because I think this route would just be so good that it will overshadow the lack of branch lines. And I think lack of the aforementioned branch lines is... Oh, hello, is that a 66 with KWA wagons from Cargo Line Volume 4? Hang on, I think I gotta take a screenshot. I swear, viewers, I did not plan for this to be a thing. That is hilarious. I just picked a service basically at random. That is hilarious. Anyway, 10 miles to go. Mild fog. Yeah. The Great Western Express Remaster has been announced for well over a year at this point. It was announced along with Train Sim World 5, and the fact that we are finally getting it after all this time is just... well, it's a dream come true, really. Mind you, a lot of the... oh, hello, Cargo Line Volume 2 HOA aggregates wagons and MFA aggregates wagons. Well, the HOAs are from Cargo Line Volume 2, and the MFAs are from Southeastern High Speed, if I'm not mistaken. They originally came into the game with East Coastway, if I'm not mistaken. I'm still holding out on getting East Coastway. I want to see how the Class 171 pack by Rivet Games turns out. If it turns out well, then alright, initial brakes. Oh, I think we're tagging along behind somebody. It's also, I think, another reason I like this route is the what was it? I'm trying to remember. The oh yes, the Old Oak Common Depot before it was torn down to make way for the new one for the Class 345s, and HS2, High Speed 2 Terminus Station. And I could rant all day about High Speed 2. The fact that it's terminating at Old Oak Common of all places instead of going all the way to Euston, despite the terminus platforms for HS2 already being built at Euston, it will never cease to baffle me. We have 9 minutes to do 6 miles. I'm sure we could do that. I actually rode on this line in the era this route is set, but as I was a little tyke of 10 at the time, you can't really expect me to remember it. Oh, hello. What are you? cement wagons from Tees Valley. Does see those every day. And a EWS Class 66. This is actually the only route to ever come with the DB Schenker version, because all the DB 66s we've had after are the there's the one static 1972 stock for the Bakerloo line. Onto the brakes. Yeah, there's the underground line. I believe that's the Central and Hammersmith and City lines, but please do correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. My London Underground knowledge is not the best. There's some HKAs that come with this route in DB Schenker livery. And there's some graffitied HOAs from Cargo Line Volume 2. Nice. What I was going to say was... yeah. I can't remember. Oh, right. Speaking of the London Underground, this past weekend, as I'm recording this, the entire Piccadilly line was shut down to allow for testing for the brand new 2024 stock tube trains. They look... there are images on the internet floating around of the 2024 stocks in action, and they look pretty good, I must say. Nice modernist retro futurist styling, if you know what I mean. Shush. Here's Old Oak Common. That's one of the buildings that's the Hitachi depot in the modern day, and that has some... that's one of the before and after images that we got, and it looks absolutely nuts. There's Old Oak Common. There's the HS2 building site. Yeah. I also have Diesel Legends of the Great Western and a timetable associated with that pack. But I only got it because it's a layer for Great Western Express Remaster, and not because I'm interested in the pack. I am interested in the stock included with the pack, because that'll get a full remaster, including a new horn for the Class 101, but for the timetable included with the pack, I'm just not that interested, because why give a route set in the mid-2010s a timetable from the 1980s and not do any corresponding updates to the route to put it in its 1980s condition? That's why I held out on getting Diesel Legends for the longest time, and I only got it because it's a layer because the stock's getting an upgrade, and because it'll have a it'll have a layer on the remastered timetable. This will actually, Great Western Express will actually be the third remastered route after the remastered by Grunt Dog Games, I should say. The first one was West Somerset Railway, and the second was Cathcart Circle. And the remaster for Cathcart Circle was released alongside with the Class 380 DLC. 1.5 miles to Paddington. Seem to be chasing another service in. I don't believe this has TPWS, but I'll just do it somewhat cautiously and slow down for the 40 limit before I have to. Oh, we do have a clear signal now, so let's give it like a bit of a jolt. Yeah. So, just going in photo mode real quick, you see this underground line here. That's the Hammersmith and City and Central lines. At the moment, there are no trains running on excuse me. There are no trains running on it, and this just ends a blank wall. The track just entered a blank wall afterwards. But that is getting an update and extra track added to connect it to the Ealing Broadway section of underground track. which should be quite nice to drive. There's the building site for what in this era will eventually be the Elizabeth line. In the modern day, that's all been completed and is running basically perfectly. 0.8 miles to go. We have 2.5 minutes-ish. Why are we supposed to get there? We're not supposed to get there at 12:29. We're supposed to get there at 12:29 and 12 seconds. Why? That's so weird. I do like the detail in the construction site, even in this old version. It does look quite detailed, and there's some quite nice looking machinery. Some aspects of the scenery on this route have aged quite well, I must say. Right, let's get the initial brakes on down to 25 miles an hour. Oh, we're getting shunted over quite a bit. Getting put at, well, it doesn't say what platform we're getting put at. Alright, release the brakes. Arriving quite early into Paddington, despite us having to chase some reds behind that other train. Welcome to Paddington, my favourite of London's terminus stations. I've been through Euston, I've been through King's Cross, and I'm aware of the other ones, but Paddington is my personal favourite. And in fact, on Friday evenings, there's actually a concert held. I'm not entirely sure what platforms it is, like platform 8. There's an impromptu concert, not impromptu, but like designed concert. And I love the station detail on Paddington, I must say. My goodness, we are coming in hot. My goodness, emergency. Oh, yes. Perfect stop. Let's get the tail lights on. Let's wait for the passengers to disembark themselves. I do like the way the old Paddington looks. I must say, it is beautiful even to this day. Yeah. So I believe... Oh, come on! Hang on. I'll see if I can get in. There we go. So where's the concert? I'm trying to remember from memory where the concert is. I think... Oh, yeah, it's between... I think it's approximately here between platforms 8 and 9 on Friday evenings. Make sure to go look it up because, yeah, you'll want... If you're in the area, you'll want to see it because the artists there are quite good. And I believe it's like a rotating selection of people who do it. You're gonna let me finish unloading the passengers game? No, it wants me to unlock the doors again. Come on. I wish with the remaster we were getting the HST castle set with sliding doors for use on Riviera, but it doesn't matter. Just having HST castle sets on Riviera at all is awesome. You gonna let me finish, game? Please? See if there's anything. DRA on. Might as well put it on. Let's go have a gander around while we wait for the train to finally we wait for the train to finish up. Where are you heading? HST to Swansea. Nice. Yeah. These two bay platforms over here, those two bay platforms are used for extra Elizabeth line services at peak times, if I'm not mistaken. No points lost for speeding. Oh yeah, platinum medal. So yeah, and I'm level 113. So yeah, that'll be all for this video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you're most looking forward to about the upcoming remaster, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you so much for watching.